Now, I feel like everyone in the community right now is obsessed with this matchup. We've got Deimos rocking the Tech Marine versus Lieutenant PP. No, I'm joking. It's LTP. I don't know what this means, but it's It's Crysis. So he's going to be fighting against Crysis. Ooh, cool color scheme. Jesus. The metallic warp spider. I mean, he looks almost like he's plastic. Very weird. So yeah, we've got this Space Marine Eldar matchup once again. The meta, of course, recently, if you're unfamiliar, I don't know how you could be, it's all about scouts these days.
Support structure complete.
Jesus Christ, what was the warp spider doing right there? Fuck me. That was ridiculous. But yeah, let's talk about scouts. Scouts are the talk of the streets these days. I mean, to the extent that people are saying that scouts are very OP. And I think most of it comes from their elite training, the HP and energy regen that they get from it. But in general, the shotgun Sarge scouts are extremely strong. And it's, in this matchup in particular, they are meant to be very impressive. Now you see that Cry is not going for any Banshees. This is because Scouts do very well against Banshees. Banshees are better against ASM and against Tactical Space Marines. But the problem is, Deimos can follow up his triple Scout build with ASM. Therefore, if you opt to not get Banshees in the early game in order to better handle the Scouts, you're going to find yourself extremely vulnerable in the later Tier 1 to the ASM.
Are we to accept defeat?
And this is where Cry is going to find himself if he fails to get Banshees later on. Now I must admit, I think going multiple Guardians is the counter to Scouts, the best option you've got. In spite of that, it's one that I see relatively rarely. Now, playing as the Warp Spider Exarch, you are naturally better against Scouts with his relatively solid range DPS out of the gate. However, the range DPS would be better if he had a weapon upgrade. So actually, in order to put extra pressure onto the Scouts, I would like to see a relatively quick weapon upgrade for the Warp Spider Exarch. Don't get the improved targeters. 50% is not worth the power cost that the improved targeters cost you. Just get the weapon upgrade, because that gives you 50% more damage anyway, and you get a really nice ability to control the Tech Marine. Now the other problem with the Warp Spider Exarch, and a reason why I really feel like you do need to double down on the fact that he is particularly good against countering Scouts, is because the Warp Spider Exarch is the weakest Eldar hero when it comes to countering ASM. Note the heavy gauge Death Spinner is on the way. Cry knows what's up. The problem right now is he has no real weaponry to deal with the ASM. He can nade spike, but a good player, he's got ways of avoiding that. Now in Tier 2, the Warp Spider Exarch can get the Entangling Web. So you can drop the Entangling Web on the ASM. That could have actually been a fucking amazing nade spike if he did it right at his feet. Ooh, the retreat nade! Oh, juicy! Really quite unlucky there from Cry to only kill one ASM. That hurts the Space Marine a lot. ASM are not cheap. They are not cheap. Once again, Warp Spider Exarch getting less than 10 HP, getting out of there. Really healthy amount of requisition for Crysis right now. I do have to think that he should be getting more units.
We shall make it so.
Now I actually do like the Shuriken in this matchup, but you have to keep it constantly behind energy shields, otherwise triple Scouts are just going to nade the Shuriken. And it's going to get wrecked. But if it's behind an energy shield, then it is entirely protected from grenades. Just something to bear in mind.
This is Imperial territory now. Deactivated and ready to be secured. Scouts here, war gear deployed. Brothers, return fire! Burn the alien!
Solid output here for DPS from the Warp Spider, but you see how he's just in open. Just being in the open with no cover, I mean, just gets melted by the shotguns. I don't really know why he wasn't taking cover there. we're starting to see a fairly solid VP lead for Deimos right now. I don't know why Cry is not buying more units. He is, of course, going to be behind on the VP situation if he fails to buy more units than this. Perhaps he just feels that his units that he can get in Tier 1 don't really scale very well, and so he'd rather just wait to Tier 2 to get something like that Reaper War Spiders. I don't know. I don't know what the goal is here.
No easy targets.
Very conservative ASM play there from Deimos. We see he drained all of the energy out of the Spider, and the Spider had Crack Shot activated on him as well, the global, that buffs his damage. So he drained red, he drained all the energy from him, and he delayed the ranges for no bleed. Nice energy shield usage here, so even though these Guardians are very fragile and the free models can handle the scouts. Look at the War Spider though. Actually got the improved targeters now, so yeah, he's just maxed out the damage on him. So he's pumped a lot of power into the War Spider. Interesting to get the improved warp generator. I don't really think that's worth it. The problem with this War Gear is it doesn't actually give him energy regen. So you get the plus 100 max energy, but you often find yourself just in the lower echelons of your energy allowance because you don't actually get better regen with it compared to his other two Tier 2 warriors. I'm guessing Cry mostly got it for the plus 200 max HP. So that War Spider's just, you know, way tanky now, but I don't think it's worth it, I really don't. I noticed that Cry keeps teleporting his War Spider into situations where he's fighting out of cover, and I really don't like that. Good usage of him in melee though there, to obviously mitigate the shotgun damage from the scouts. Cry's getting a fairly decent control of the map, considering his lesser investment in basic troops. I mean, just think about it, like, the investment in these scouts is way higher than anything that Crysis has put into his units, and then ASM, way more expensive than any of the individual units here. And that's going to be a trade for the heroes, but that favours Deimos, because Deimos had absolutely no upgrades on his hero, and Cry obviously had many upgrades on his.
The Eldar are claiming a victory point.
Ranger's going to bleed a little bit here. Should be another model, yeah. Down to one model. We'll get out though. Or will they? The jump into base and he wipes them. Absolutely beautiful play from Deimos. Loses an ASM model, but it's so worth it to get that wipe. And now Crysis is down to 2 units. He needs to get something out ASAP. I don't know what he's doing. Is this a Falcon rush? Is this a Wraithlord rush? Whatever it is, if it is a vehicle rush, it is going to be a Falcon rush. The rush is very much in quotation marks because Deimos is solidly in Tier 2 himself, and soon we'll be able to get a Dreadnought up, so... You know how Space Marines are, he's going to have plenty of options for anti-vehicle here. Melter gun on the Tech Marine is obvious. No missile launcher, however, because... What's going on here? No missile launcher because no tactical Space Marines, at least not yet. We could see one getting called in with the drop pod. Ooh, look at the flank. Oh, War Spider, very unlucky there. I had to actually reload. If he could have kept unloading his shots, that could have been a wiped scout squad. And that was one of the upgraded ones too. So here we go, the Falcon hits the field and Deimos has seen it. Deimos is going to be getting a Dreadnought of his own. Now the Falcon should be able to 1v1 the Dreadnought, even if the Falcon encounters a melee a Melter Dreadnought, which would be the best counter to it. The problem is that the Falcon has longer range than the Melter Dreadnought and is faster than it, so if you can keep microing your Falcon, you never get caught by the Melter Dread. But the if is a big but. And you also have the problem of ASM are on the field, they can get the Melter Bombs, and if they Melter Bomb the Falcon, you will be too slow to be able to kite the Melter Dread. And then the Melter Dread will quite easily kill your Falcon. So here's the initial engagement. Melter Dread is now on the field. It will not shoot though unless you hit the S command. If you had a melee Dreadnought and you issued an attack order, whilst getting the upgrade, but you can see the problem here. Falcon is faster than the Dreadnought, able to pew it from a distance, whilst the Dreadnought is trying to close in. An attempted path block by Deimos, but unfortunately it's not really that effective because scouts have lower pathing priority than the Falcon. And basically the Dreadnought just incurs a whole lot of damage to not really much avail. Falcon pursues, still not in range of the melted Dreadnought. This is the problem, you need your ASM. Where are the ASM? The ASM are in base, so yeah, this is a fail. This is a failure. We've got Crack Shot called in on the Fire Dragons. Wow, that was an instantly dead Fire Dragon because the melted Dreadnought is attacking the Fire Dragons. Which is fair enough, yeah, you can just tie them up with melee. Because Fire Dragons are actually heavy infantry, I believe they take bonus damage from the melted damage from that multi-melted Dreadnought, and that's really painful. He's basically going to pop them with every hit. See how much the Melter Gun Tech Marine is doing against the Fire Dragons. Wow, kills that Exarch in 3 shots. That's pretty brutal. Right now there's no support for the Dreadnought. Blessings of the Omnissiah has already been used. So Cry has an opportunity to pursue here and try and finish it off, but Deimos still did pretty well with the Tech Marine there. There wasn't too much of an opportunity. That said, the Dreadnought needs some repairs, so if Cry's quick about it, should be able to get a bash very quickly here. Falcon and the Fire Dragons both bash very quickly. And honestly, Guardians aren't that bad either. Certainly for their pop, they bash as quick as Tactical Space Marines, which for their pop is pretty legendary. You've got to love how the Melted Dread does against the Fire Dragons. Like, this is crazy bleed. Oh my god, that grenade. Ooh, here we go, Melter Bomb. ASM just have to jump and get the Melter Bomb, not even needed. Poor macro from Cry, and the Melted Dreadnought is able to take out the Falcon. And that's the risk you play, but the thing is, it's not even that bad because, like, it's actually worse for the Eldar getting the Falcon there because we didn't even see the combo of the Melter Bomb and the multi-melted Dreadnought. If that combo is used correctly, all you do is you attack with the ASM from a different angle than the front so they don't see it. They're just doing the normal kiting, and then you come down from here, you jump behind it. The Falcon can't dodge your Melter Bomb because Melter Bombs can't miss, and you can just jump after it wherever it goes. And with the jump, you always can keep up to it. So check this out. Normally the Warp Spider Exarch would be a nightmare in this hard cover with this global, but the Tech Marine has the Melter Gun, which can't, it just ignores cover. Melter weapons, for whatever reason, they just ignore cover. So instantly killed him, even though he's in green cover. Well, not instantly, but you know, free shots. Killed him very quickly. I do not like this from Cry. Going double Fire Dragons right now feels like suicide. That said, honestly, Deimos' composition is so good compared to Cry's right now. You don't really want to go Bright Lance, which would be the ideal counter to this thing, because it's just going to get killed by all these grenades from the scouts. There's ASM on the field, which are pretty uncontested.
Our Tech Marine has gained a level. Generator operational.
I tell you what, Deimos has got a really bad habit of just walking his blob scouts into really fat grenades. This is actually a great engagement here for Cry. Oh my god, man. Kind of moved his Fire Dragons a little bit too close, I think. Tech Marine really should be trying to melee one of the Fire Dragons. Oh my god, the specials. Okay, the Dreadnought's gonna go down. I mean, I'm guessing Blessing of the Omnissiah was still on cooldown. Surely not. Maybe that was a mistake. You should probably use Blessings of the Omnissiah there. That could have actually been like a GG moment if the Dreadnought didn't go down there and all that bleed went to the Fire Dragons, or even got a wipe on one of them. That would pretty much be GG. But yeah, losing the Dreadnought is actually pretty brutal for Deimos. He seems to have been bleeding quite a lot on his scouts, believe it or not, because he's got no resources really. And I don't see any other upgrades. Well, you know, he has the triple upgraded scouts. But still, this is very winnable now. Warp Spiders wouldn't even be a bad call. I don't know if Warp Spiders honestly would be that good. I actually think a Wraith Lord would be great right now. I feel like the problem with Warp Spiders, whilst they would be great against these scouts, he already has so many relatively squishy ranged troops that just getting more of them doesn't feel right. I feel like compositionally he needs something a little bit different. And a Wraith Lord would be great. There's no real AV on the field, there's literally just the Melter Gun. The Melter Gun and the Melter Bombs. So it could work, it could work. Now the Fire Dragons can be fairly oppressive. Still really don't like that Tech Marine. Yeah, good play to tie up the Tech Marine there. Because his Melter Gun is so deadly against Fire Dragons. Look how fast these guys bash though. Deimos is kind of low on power as well. Funnily enough, Cry basically has infinite power at this point. What was that? That was a very strange misclick from Deimos. Yeah, Fire Dragon's trading extremely well with these scouts. You see the heavy infantry armor really does help there. Maybe not against the Tech Marine with the Melter Gun, but against these shotguns, it's very handy. Again, the Spider has to get straight out of there. Can't just take the garrison because of the risk of both the grenades, but actually, just the fucking Tech Marine with this Melter Gun makes using buildings not very effective at all. Cry is going to go for another Falcon. I think that is not a good idea. I would go for a Wraith Lord. But hey, it could work out, certainly if there's a Razorback on the field. I don't know if the Razorback is going to come out though before the Falcon is seen, and if the Falcon's seen, I would be cancelling the Razorback. Guardians really fighting for their life here. End up just grenading one of their own guys. What can you do? Yeah, so the Falcon is seen. You see how the ASM can't even knock over the Fire Dragons because they got that Dragon Scale armor upgrade? Pretty nice. Makes them very decent against the ASM. I mean, they're level 3 ASM. Oh my god, look at this. Just the Tech Marine and the friggin' Melter Bomb killed the Falcon. Oh my god. And the Razorback was cancelled when the Falcon was spotted. Wow. Massive throw there from Cry. And Cry is actually really behind on VPs as well. Well, not really behind. They're both just very low. Less than 150 for Cry is pretty nice. And this is going down so fast. Now he's trying to combat that with a few web wiggets that are popping up here and there. Nice ASM timing. Scouts were losing that fight there, but the ASM coming in might change it. Well, now the other FTs can get involved, things might change. Crack shot being used on the Fire Dragons again. Really like this crack shot usage, it's pretty good. With the Razorback arriving now, yeah, it's going to secure the victory for the SM. Good stuff. Good stuff.
Adding support structure.
Okay.
Ready for duty.
Tier 3 now for Cry. I mean, this is pretty wild play, to be honest. So what's he going to get in Tier 3? A Fire Prism to counter a Razorback? I mean, that seems a bit much. What's that, like 285 power with a Tier 3 cost? Just kill a Razorback? Like, what? Sick Council won't do anything here. You have 4 forms of knockback, plus the Signum armor to debuff their damage resistance, and a Razorback which the Seers can't even kill themselves. I find this Tier 3 very odd, but we'll see what he's got planned. He has no red, so there's no Eldritch. Okay, we've got some group teleport shenanigans going on right now. Kind of fucked up his group teleport there. If he teleported the double Fire Dragons, that would have been a wipe, and the Razorback does not matter. Level 2 fire dragons with crack shot are very, very scary. This is where some tactical marines with a plasma gun would be brutal. Deimos might actually want to consider that. I'm really curious what Cry's got planned from tier 3. Has to be Seers, right? Well, now he's killed the Razorback. Yeah, for sure it has to be Seers. And I mean, Seers get that range damage resistance, so they don't take crazy damage from the shotgun scouts even though they're light infantry armor. They obviously will be able to slaughter the ASM in melee, so I don't know, maybe the Seers will do something, let's see. The problem is, of course, that there's only 60 VPs left for Cry, so things need to happen quickly here. Let's see if it can. Fire Prism. Fire Prism is the choice. He went tier 3 for a Fire Prism. You know, if the SM was playing with like P-Devs and Tactical Marines in green cover, you know, really static, campy play, I'd get that, but infiltrating scouts running around everywhere, I feel like a Fire Prism is a questionable choice. The Fire Prism is very vulnerable to the Melter Bomb, Melter Gun play as well. In fact, it's more vulnerable than a Falcon because it's even slower than a Falcon. I don't know about this Cry. Let's see how it does. Oh man, the damage coming after that Tech Marine crack shot on the level 4 Warspider Exarch now. He is putting in some good work right now.
Ready to surge the alien.
You know, as vulnerable as that Warspider Exarch is to the ASM, very nice tool against the scouts, that's for sure. And I like that Cry doubled down on that. That is what you have to do. Dragon Scale Armor proving quite handy here, so the ASM will get knocked back by the Fire Prism, but the Fire Dragon will not. One-to-one cap thanks to these scouts. Hero scouts getting that decap on the mid, but it looks like the Fire Dragon should be able to just get on with that. This is the problem though, the scouts infiltrating. Might be able to get a cheeky grenade off. Luckily for Cry, these Fire Dragons are split up quite nicely. Relatively easy evade. Unfortunately, the Fire Prism just wasted a shot at something else. Librarian now for Deimos. Very interesting play. Wow. I guess Veil of Time on a Tech Marine could be very nice to hunt down that Fire Prism. Librarian actually will be very good at killing the Fire Dragons with his power melee. Wow, the constant harass from the scouts. The poor Fire Dragons just cannot capture that mid VP. Librarian up top causing problems as well. You see he's got Quickening activated, which gives him, I think, 4 seconds of massive damage resistance. It's like 90% or something. And knockback immunity, so use that knockback immunity to help himself get onto the VP. And will this be it? Will this be it? There is a Squad of Guardians going to the bottom because it's currently blue. Deimos is getting very close to winning this game on VPs. Now Quickening should be worn off now, yes, so the Fire Prism is able to disrupt the Librarian. Perhaps this is the reason that Cry wanted the Fire Prism. The constant knockback is very powerful when it comes to VP shenanigans, but this is looking like it's going to be a victory for Deimos. Cry has to get this cap down bot. The grenade fails to prevent the cap. No, there you go. It's GG. GG. I think the Fire Prism was too ambitious. The VP differential was too much here. Needed something out a little sooner. Nice to see the Fire Dragons putting in work. I mean, Fire Dragons really are a staple unit of Eldar now. They've come to a great position in the balance. I like where they're at. They feel strong, they feel effective, but they don't feel overpowered, and just spamming Fire Dragons doesn't win you games. As you can see here, even when the proper counters to them aren't really on the field, you know, if you really want to hard counter those Fire Dragons, Plasma Gun Tactical Marines are so good, because they melt them because they're heavy infantry. But even without them, Fire Dragons found themselves bleeding quite a lot, and it wasn't quite enough to deal with Deimos' army in this instance. So there you go. A little bit of that Tech Marine, Warspider Exarch action. Hope you enjoyed, guys. Torpid out.